Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we have this Kona
Kilauea
in the stand. This is one of the Kona's higher end steel bikes back in the day. Very high quality, Tange Prestige, Derailleur XT. Really nice bike actually. Obviously by today's standards it's pretty old. It's 90s, early to mid 90s I think this one is, I'll check. But back in the day this was a very high end steel frame bike. So it's the owner's favourite bike. He wants a bit of a resurrection doing on it. Just a case of tidying it up and getting it off-road worthy again. See if it can once again bounce down the side of a mountain. I know a lot of you guys won't fancy that compared to today's bikes, but back in the day, that's where I grew up as well. It can be done. Anyway, let's crack on with this. So the chain is well over 1%. We're putting a new chain on here, putting a new cassette on here. We're not going to be able to go retro and put a sort of vintage cassette on here. It's going to go to a modern one. All these will clean up, no problem at all. A pretty big buckle in this wheel. Hopefully we can sort that because the spokes I need to adjust are already out of adjustment, so that could be interesting. Again, I'm going to tidy this horrendous gear cable. It should stop here and at the top of the down tube as well. I mean, full housing technically might work better, but wow, it looks so bad. Original Shimano cranks, 175, look at that. So it's not full XT, we've got LX front derailleur, XT brakes, XT rear mech. Unsure what brand these hubs are. I think the rear one is a Shimano. This is a, I don't know, can't even read it. Oh, it is a Shimano, yeah. Parallax of some sort. Original XT brakes with parallel linkages. They're not original pads or pad holders, but there's nothing we can do with those. They're long gone now. We'll put a fresh noodle on here, I think. The forks we're not going to touch. That's not going to be part of this service. Like I say, we are working on quite a tight budget. And they are sort of bouncing up and down. And I think, to be honest, that's as good as they're going to get. Like I say, unbelievably, the seat post does actually move. So I'll have it out, clean it up the best we can, and get some grease on there before it does seize up. But it does move. I'll tell you what, guys, I've just put my tripod on some wheels. Oh my God, what a game changer. It's going to save me hours. Anyway, so we have Suntour, I think these are probably XC Pro thumb shifters. It's a bit grotty there, I can't really see. On this side, we've got a bit of dubious tape. So have a quick look at this now because this could be a major issue. Okay, so we're okay. The barrel adjuster is there. It's just this cable there. We'll put a bit of tape over because it's going to stab you. So obviously we're changing this cable anyway, so that'll be sorted. So we can clean these bolts up a little bit. Headset actually feels really good, but we'll chuck some grease in there as well. He's asked me to take these X-Lite bar ends off, so I don't know, I'd have kept them on personally, but customer's always right. Love a bit of 90s bar end action, don't we? Come on. Right, let's get going on this. Right, I've not even tried these gears yet, so let's give them a quick go. Up one. Oh, didn't do anything, did it? Oh, God, that's tight. And that's in the spokes there. Oh, good. Straight down, and it only shifts to half the cassette. So that the thumb shifter is actually down here now. So you can see how stiff that cable is. So you can pull this derailleur down now. So we know it's not a derailleur issue or anything. It's just purely the cable. Anyway, they're all coming off. Let's get these wheels out, cut these cables, and get going. That's a good fit. Oh my God, this tripod's amazing. That's literally took me 2 seconds. That would have been 3 minutes to reposition that before. Game changer, guys. Game changer. I saw it on one of Matt Armstrong's videos. He had a tripod in the background on wheels, and I thought, oh God, why didn't I do that? Anyway, we'll let's cut these cables. If your gear cables look like this, guys, you've got issues. Never in a million years is this shifting properly. All right, let's get them off. Snippy snip time. Let's go. Wow. And the last one. There you go. We've got a quick link somewhere, hopefully. Nope. There's no quick link, so we're just going to break the chain. See how bad my thumb is? I can't even press this now. Jesus. Don't get arthritis, guys. It's not good. Luckily, it's just my left thumb at the moment. So there's no replaceable drop out on this. It is a steel frame. So we'll check the alignment anyway. But wow. I'll take them out and put some shinier ones in as well. That's where you should be, in here. Yes, full housing would technically perform better, but not in the condition it's in. Look at that, don't get any easier than that, does it? Ow! See why that tape was there now. Oh my God. XT levers are nice. XC Pro levers are nicer. Oh, they're so nice. Again, not compared to today's stuff, people would be like, what the hell are they? If you know, you know, and all that. It's an earlier version of a reach adjustment, I think, so you can pull these out. Or is that a servo way for U-brakes? I can't remember now, to be honest, but they're adjustable. I'm going to have to remind myself what they do because I can't remember. Oh, there's a reach adjustment there, so it can't be a reach adjust. Okay, brakes off as well. We're just going to take everything off really. Luckily on this, bearing wise, bottom bracket, etc., I think we're okay. Bottom brackets, maybe saying that, the bottom bracket's not fantastic, but they're pretty cheap. I'll say we're not going sort of full retro restoration with period correct parts. We're putting modern parts on it, modern bottom bracket, modern cassette, modern chain, although they've changed much, just to get it running again. There you go. I'm not sure how many of you guys like the retro mountain bikes, but that's 100% where my heart's at. It's where I grew up. It's where I would say I was a specialist, if any particular area. But yeah, I enjoy working on these immensely. Oops. If this is your first video back since my workshop revamp, welcome. And I hope you can tell a difference. Literally night and day, I think it's fair to say. It looks fabulous. New lights, everything's fantastic. And I fixed my camera. So, not that it was broken, it was just operator error. There's so many settings I had so wrong. And now it looks a lot better. So this bottom bracket, you can hear that already on. It sounds horrendous, so that's obviously coming out. Right, let's get these crank caps off. Kilauea. Oh, I can't pronounce that. Yeah. It's been on there for a while. Right. Off. Let's pull this as well. I think we'll run a tap through there just to clean that out. It wasn't particularly corroded, but it was pretty damn tight. Anyway, she's out. Has it for the win. Honestly, such a good air gun. Right, my compressor's going to kick in now. I know it is, but sorry. Nice. That's dead. See, everything looks terrible, but nothing's actually seized up, so happy days. It's a shame it's lost the original pad holders over the years. They were much nicer, just cartridge inserts on them. But these will work. These used to squeak like crazy, and they released a modification kit with a load of shims. You peel the sticker off here and some shims that you can put in there, and then they give you a new sticker to stop it, because the vibration, the squeaking was basically caused by the vibration in this loose joint here. But I'm not sure if you could still buy that shim kit. I doubt it. If you could, I would grab one myself, because at some point I'll end up with a set of these or XTR for a build. If anyone's got a bag of shims kicking around in a bag, fresh set, let me know. I'll just quickly whip this out, it takes 2 seconds. So. Then we'll be down to a bare frame when I get the seat post out. It's not stuck, honestly. But it does look terrible. I got told off for my love tap sound effects on my last video, so I won't do it this time. There you go. Was that better? We've actually got loose bearings in here, no cartridges or anything. Crusty, but not too bad. Seat post next. I can't believe how much difference this tripod's making now, honest. 1993 bike of the year. Jesus, as good a state of that. You would say 100% that's sea solid, wouldn't you? But look at it. It moves no problem, straight out. Can you believe it? Especially on an old Kona, they're famous for it. It's in a pretty sorry state. We'll see if we can polish it up at least a little bit, but I think the corrosion here is so deep, I'm not sure how much better it's going to look, and we don't really have the budget for a new one, so 27mm. I'm just wondering, I've got an old carbon post that might actually fit this, that I might donate to the project, because this just looks terrible. I'll change this crusty old bolt as well. So except for the headset cups, that's now a bare frame. I'll give it a quick weigh actually, see what it was. Back in the day, I think 4 pounds was a good weight for a high quality steel frame, so I'll give it a weight. Just going to check for that seat post. I think I've got something that might just fit this quite nicely. Let me check. I thought this might have worked, but looking at it, it is the right size, but it's got a bit of a flat spot on here, so I don't think this is going to be safe to use anymore. So, plus the clamp's missing, that'll take me all day to find. I think we'll stick with plan A and try and clean that one up then. Anyway, let's carry on. 2,072 grams, 4.9 pounds. That sounds heavy. Anyway. It's that much. That's what's left of that then. Right, time to clean her up. So I'll clean it up the best I can. There's a bit of mud on here. Clean out this bottom bracket shell. There is some corrosion on the frame. Underneath the paint you can see it as well, but there's not a lot we can do with that, unfortunately. Right, I'll give her a quick clean. Not very exciting, so I'll just skip to when it's shiny as something that's 30 years old can look. Right, so it's got plenty of war wounds, that's for sure. This is a massive amount of chain suck down here. Clearly it's never going to clean up as a garage queen, but functionally it should still work. I'm just going to run a tap through here because there's still a lot of corrosion living in these threads. And I'm just going to chase the threads. We're not trying to cut a new thread physically, we're just cleaning the rust out both sides. Not too bad actually. Alright, that's a bit healthier than it was. Notice this piece of seat tube here, this is, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but they actually ovalized it back in there because it comes down around here, then they flare it out to ovalized. So this is Prestige concept. Basically the idea of that is to stiffen the frame at the bottom bracket area because they've ovalized it there. Well, that was the theory anyway. Alright, that's as good as that's getting, guys. Alright, so we can just bang a new bottom bracket in here basically. Yeah, so 73, don't put 73 in. So bottom brackets come in two different widths on square taper, 68 or 73. I thought I picked a 68 up, but I picked a 73 up. This will fit obviously, but what you find is the non-drive side cup sticks out 5mm there. At a push you might get away with it, but I think I've got the right one. Right, let's try that again, 68mm. One of them days, isn't it? Bottom bracket in. Well, I'm going to see what I can do to clean this up. It's never going to look $1 million, that's for sure. But hopefully we can get it looking a bit better. Let's just run it through the wire wheel. Right, I'll see if it'll polish up a little bit better. It still looks pretty rubbish, but it's going to work. I'd be severely tempted if it was mine to put a new one on there. Right, I'll give this a quick clean internally, just a bit of a honing thing. I've got a reamer for it, but I don't really want to take any material off it because it's actually quite a loose fit as it is, so that's it there. That's a good fit. I wouldn't want to take anything off that really, to be honest. I think we'll get these clamps back on and get this back in so we can hang it up. Just get it on here because obviously once the seat post is in you can't fit that. Get this on. Right, it's well and truly greased everywhere. That'll do. Actually looks a lot better than I thought it was going to after all of that. Okay, back in, clamped on that post. Cosmetically, far from perfect obviously, but functionally it's going to do the job just fine. Right, what's next? Let's get these forks back in. Right, let's just get these headset cups cleaned up, get some fresh bearings in there with some new grease, and get this fork in. Finest finish line grease in here. Beautiful stuff. I'm on a mission, guys. Come on, help me. I want finish line. Seriously, I'm after a channel lubricant sort of sponsor, and the finish line would be my preferred partner, if you're listening, guys. Right, so that's all cleaned up best I can. Yeah, it's pretty crusty, I'm not going to lie. Cleaned up this as a lower seal, drops on here, sticks around the crown race. Feels okay. I think it went that way. And that. And then that. And that one. And a million spacers. Like that. Stem. And chuck that back in there, and that's it. That'll hold itself together now for now. There you go, beautiful. I can just about see the alignment now, actually looking down, sort of from here to between the fork legs. So I'll tighten where I think, and just double check later. If I just let that go now. Perfect. All right, what's next? I'm just going to take these bar ends off and move the grips out, hopefully. Yeah, that's okay. There you go, X-Lite. Who still uses bar ends? I quite like them. Give you an alternative position, don't they? Open your lungs up a bit, allegedly. So you just want these grips moving to the end of the bar now, so that could be slightly challenging. I don't know how these things are even fixed. I think they're foam with a sort of a sleeve over the top. This could be a challenge. Let me try an airline. So with an airline, normally if you can get air under it, it just basically lifts the whole thing off the bar, but these are starting to look a bit fragile on the edges, so I'm not sure how effective this is going to be. Very. There you go. Like that, guys. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but this Hazet, I don't know how you pronounce it, air gun. It's just fantastic, honestly. The quality of this is, I looked at this yesterday, I've had this 5 years, and it's just fantastic. Fully adjustable, obviously. On this quick coupling Hazet again, you just on and off there, and then you're straight on. Fantastic bit of kit. Not even that expensive, about £30 I think this was. But like I say, it's at least 5 years old now, still going strong. So I have put a Amazon list up. I'd put a post up saying I've basically added as many tools as I can find in the workshop onto an Amazon list for you guys. And this is on there, everything's on there, gloves are on there. Like I say, any tool that I'll use, physically use in the workshop that I can find on Amazon, it's a massive long list, so fill your boots. Here's the affiliates obviously, so I might earn 2p from it, but all helps to support the channel, guys. So it moved, so I'm just going to move the brake lever and the shifter this way a little bit. So I get these moved, and then I think I'll look at cleaning up the chain set, etc. And then we can start to look at putting it back together and cabling up and see how it works. Unfortunately, I don't have the right cassette at the moment. I've got an 1128 or an 1132, but it's an 1130 that's on here at the moment, so I want to replicate that. That's coming tomorrow anyway. So I can't remember if these Suntour shifters were ever alleged to be compatible with Shimano back in the day. I can't remember, honestly, but I guess we'll find out soon. But they're beautiful shifters. Suntour make very, very nice, made very, very nice kit. Long gone now, unfortunately. Try and clean this sticker without completely killing it to see which model it is. If you can hear the donkeys and the cockerels, that's it's not mine. Some local wildlife. It gets a bit annoying in the morning, I'm not going to lie. No, I can't get it off, it's just going to completely destroy the sticker, but let's say the XC Pro. Alright, super important bit with this is if you've got a open end like this, you must put a plug in here like this. So just make sure you fit these. Honestly, it's super, super dangerous. Just tap them in. Like that. And same on the other side. So bottom bracket done. Headset done. I'm going to clean up the components, the derailleurs, the brakes, etc. Chain set especially, that's in really bad condition. Get them cleaned up, get them refitted, have a look at this back wheel, it's got a massive buckle in it, and then put that back together and cable her up, and we're done. Very, very straightforward on these older mountain bikes, everything's cable. Super easy to do, so if you want something to practice on, grab something like this, maybe not
Kilauea,
or whatever you call it, a sort of cable operated mountain bike from the 90s. You can maintain these all day long, you're not going to break anything. Super easy to work on. Alright, I'm going to look at this wheel next. Now you recognise this, this is last week's video when you're watching this. It's still not finished yet, I'm waiting for parts on this, so I'm filming this video while I'm waiting for these bits. Who says we can't multitask? Right, drop this in here. Alright, what we got? So it's got a fair old whack coming over this way here. So there, basically we need to tighten these spokes here. They're already pretty tight, and loosen these spokes here. And the problem is that these are already super loose. So I need to put some tension in these anyway, and then try and get some tension on here. But if you find a wheel like this, generally speaking, you're going to struggle to true this. Let me just have a look. This could be a gunner, I'm not going to lie. And that's seized as well, which is always useful. So you get a spoke that's seized like that, grab yourself one of these. This is the spoke sort of plier. That stops the spoke rotating when you try and do that. And it should just crack free, hopefully. Might need to lubricate it as well. And you can go there now. Stay there, good boy. I'm going to get some lube on this, but obviously we're on rim brakes, so try not to cover the entire wheel in lubricant if you can help it. Try and let it run down the spoke and it will get to where it needs to be. Like that. Like I say, we're going to struggle because these are already pretty tight and they're the ones that need tightening, and we do need to be pretty straight because being on rim brakes, we can't afford for much tolerance. I mean, I think it'll turn in. So we have got tension on that one now, so I'll go around the wheel. So I need to try and tighten these two basically, We're just going to see what happens, but generally speaking, this is more bent than buckled, so you might definitely struggle. Oh, this is seizing as well. They're all seized up. Well, I'm just going to go around and lubricate everything. Right, I've moved the camera, that's better. I can see what I'm doing now. I think we're going to struggle with this one, guys. Got a good old whack. So basically all of these need tightening up, and that'll pull it over. So I'm going to leave these to soak for some considerable time, and we'll carry on with the rest of the bike because I need to get these spokes moving and not breaking. So there's not much to clean on here. There's a chain set, obviously, the two derailleurs. I'm not going to clean these V-brakes because these stickers will just float off and just look terrible, so I'll do those by hand. I'm just going to take these chain rings off. Pretty cruddy this one, guys. Look, that's 30 years worth, I think. Never mind, let's see if we can get it off with the ultrasonic. So older chain sets like this, you need to be really, really careful of what goes where because they're not quite as user-friendly, shall we say, as modern ones. So just take note of which side of this chain ring faces you, and if there's any spaces or washers or anything in between it, because it can just fall into a million pieces in a minute. Normally there's a recess here where this bolt sits, but on this chainring there's not, so it's really easy to get it the wrong way around. Probably still work, don't get me wrong, but try and get it where it was. Normally you'll see some text on one side of it, but I don't think I'm going to see anything on this one, I'll be honest. So let's see if we can see. And there might be some spaces, like I say. Okay, these are actually cast into the crank like sensibly. Like I say, sometimes there's a recess in here which would set this chainring bolt in. On this one there's not. So I'll have to scrape this off with a knife and see if there's any identifying marks on this one. Like I say, I'll probably go back on this way, but I'd rather get it the way it was. I'll take these off as well. Oh my god. I don't know if you can see that, but the other side of that chainring bolt that you need to get to is wedged completely behind the crank arm. But that's a fantastic bit of design there, Sagino. So that's just spinning now and you can't get into it. Unbelievable. You just basically wedge a screwdriver in there to stop that bit spinning while you take that one out. That's a fantastic bit of design, that is. There it is. So that bolt there you've got no access to at all. So that lives in here. Amazing. Right, I'm going to scrape some of this off because that's a bit optimistic for the ultrasonic even. And again, I'm just going to scrape this, show you what it should look like. So there's the writing there, C22, so that faces outside of the chainring. It's also got a massive bend in it as well. So we'll see if we can straighten that out a bit. Strip this rear mech down a bit more as well. Well, quite a bit more. Ceramic bearings in this one, look at that. Can't see them now, I don't think. There's a lot of corrosion on this. I'm going to chuck it all in the ultrasonic now and then come back to you when I've finished cleaning it all up, because it's so boring to watch that bit, I know it is. So I'll be back in a bit. Right, so that's all cleaned up. This bent chainring is actually in really bad condition. It's got all the plating fell off. So I've dug out a spare from the parts bin. We'll use that instead. Get rid of this one. Cranks have cleaned up reasonably well. A lot better than they were. Some of the chain rings, some bolts. So on chainring bolts, they have this little slot in it, and this special old Shimano spanner is designed to basically go into there and hold it, so that enables you to tighten it up. But if you can't get this spanner onto the back of this crank arm and this starts spinning, you're going to struggle. I don't think that'll go in there. You'll get a chain ring in there anyway, so no, it's not going to go in there. Anyway, wish me luck. So again, just put that screwdriver behind there to stop that falling out. So this does have the recesses there that I was talking about for the chainring bolts. Right, that did feel like it actually bit quite well. I'll tighten it up fully in a minute. I'm just trying to think of a plan B in case I can't get this wheel straight. I don't really have one yet. I've got a few old wheels, period correct, that might work, but obviously that's going to be an additional cost to the customer. I'm not giving them a wheel for free. I'll give them a chain ring, not a wheel. And that one. It's got a replacement middle chain ring. It's a strong light. The other two are the originals. Well, not now, they're not. And this stupid one here. That's tight, good. Nice. The only problem is this is offset by sort of 30 degrees, but it really doesn't make any difference. This tab here would line up with the chain set, but because this is not from this crank, and they've offset this for this stupid arm design, unless you get the exact one for this, it's never going to line up. But this little tab does nothing other than tell you how to put it back together again. Alright, one chain set, it looks a bit better than it did. This is a steel ring, that's why it's a different colour. It used to be aluminium one, hence it bent. So that's better than it was. I can go back on the bike. Bottle cage is cleaned up lovely as well for the ultrasonic. Front mech looks a bit better than it did. I'll just get some lube in there though. Just flood it through all the pivots and this crusty old spring in here. Corrosion preventative as well really, so, and it gives it a bit of a shine. Get on the bike and get these pivots moving, but that feels lovely. The V-brakes, I'll say I could just give them a quick wipe. This bit of tape here, this packaging, so that should come off the day it was installed on the bike. Basically just to stop that scratching that when it's in the box. Alright, so they're okay. I'm just going to get some lube in this assembly down here though, because you can see it does get a bit crusty in there. So try and dodge your pads and just get some lube around here. And there's parallel linkage here as well. It's a brilliant idea on these V-brakes. On a normal V-brake, this pad sort of dives underneath the rim, but because this linkage keeps it parallel with the rim, you don't get that problem. They don't make them like this anymore. I don't think anybody does. No, Shimano don't. Or do they? CR versions of these, in my opinion, some of the finest brakes ever made. In my opinion. This cable guide that lives under the bottom bracket, half of it is missing. This is the piece here for the front derailleur. You can see the angle on it. This piece here is broken off a long time ago by the looks of it, and that guides the rear derailleur. I think I've got one of these as a spare. They are pretty much universal, so I'll grab that. Throw this derailleur back together. No different to any one. G pulley goes on the top. These are not directional. A bit of Loctite on that one. Drop that through there. These are ceramic bushes on these. They're actually really good. The lower one's basic. It's just the G pulley. It's the ceramic one. Make sure this barrel adjuster works. It does. Screw it back in. We've got one on the thumb shifter as well, don't forget, so it should be straightforward, hopefully. Look at the corrosion, crikey. Just get a bit down. Hopefully this will just seek itself in. You can take this out. I've done it a few times before, but generally speaking, unless it's seized on the bike, they're okay. Right, that'll do for that as well. Right, back to this wheel. Right, so I've took the tyre off, etc. on this wheel. I think we're going to struggle because they've been soaking. I've even tried heat on this and I just can't get these to move at all. And without moving the spokes, you're kind of dead. So there's 2 dents in this wheel as well. There's one there, look. And then come around here. There's another one there which actually is on both sides. So I think realistically we're going to have to look at replacing this wheel. These are not moving, and even if you could get them to move or replace them even, the 2 massive dents in this 32, 33-year-old wheel, it's pretty much a no-name hub, very basic Shimano one, so it's not worth the labour. You know, if you've got to throw a £300 hub then, it's definitely worth the labour to rebuild a wheel, but on something of this value, it's basically scrap metal really, so we're going to have to look for a suitable wheel. I thought I had one there, but the free hub's different, typically, so I can't fit the cassette on it. So I'm going to have a quick look around, see what I can find. I'll see what else I can put on the bike while we find a suitable solution for this, but it's got to be done by the end of the week, so no pressure. So it's a bit of a problem. Obviously I could just get a brand new wheel off the shelf like this, and we'd be away, not a problem, I've got those. But on something like this I do try and keep it sort of period correct, and this is obviously a brand new wheel. Totally the wrong colour. I can't get silver, but I've only got black in stock at the moment. So I'm going to peruse my options and see if I can find something that's going to be a bit more suitable for this bike. But in the meantime, I'll continue putting the rest of the stuff back together: cranks, derailleurs, brakes, etc. Get it all cabled up. We're still waiting for cassette anyway, so we can't fit the wheel today. So frustrating, but that's what you get when working on bikes of this age. Of course, like I say, it's dead easy just to go buy a brand new one off the shelf, and I see them all day, day in, day out. But I do like to try and keep them slightly more correct where possible. Anyway, onwards. I've got a new bolt for this for a start. That's an easy one. Hopefully not too long. Is that bit done? That was hard. I'll put the bottle cage on with some new shiny bolts as well. You can't believe how good this tripod wheel thing is. Oh my god, it's fabulous. So even the bottle cage went in the ultrasonic. These normally clean up really well, and this one's no exception. Cleaned up perfectly almost. Get this on. It's not holding anything, but rather than leaving open holes in the frame for water, it's already got enough corrosion. If you're doing like a full resto and painting it, obviously you put something like Derailleur inside the frame to give it some added rust protection, but you can see it bubbling through the paint here. It's basically all over. Let's get some grease on these brake pivots. Make sure you grease these. Same as any other brake, you've got a peg here that you've got a choice of 3 holes. Normally aim for the middle one. If you're having real problems with spring tension and you can't get it on here or here, then you can accommodate it by having either a massive increase or a massive decrease on spring tension by using those. But normally you get away with the middle one, almost always. Bit of fresh Loctite on these. I'm struggling to think of a solution for this customer for this wheel, unfortunately. It's frustrating. Like I say, what was going to be a fairly low cost fixer-upper sort of thing, with a new wheel, it really soon adds up very quickly. Wheels are not cheap. Even something very, very standard is sort of 60 or 70 pounds, so it really does add up very quickly. Quite often cheaper to buy a used bike with a used set of wheels that would fit and do it that way. Very often cheaper. Same on the front. You've only got one hole on the front, so these bolts are very, very specific to these V-brakes, so if you've got a set of these, don't lose the bolts. I'm not sure they're available anymore as spares. Maybe they are if you shop around enough, but they're very specific to these. Like I say, well, I'm a big fan of these V-brakes, honestly. The XTR versions, well, they're just fantastic, honestly. Yeah, they might squeak, but God, they look good and they work really well when they're set up. I'm so tempted to build up a real retro with full XTR, real proper XTR. It's going to happen one day, guys. 100,000 subs. I'm treating myself to a climb with full XTR, Dolomite colours, and it's hanging on the wall. It'll be hanging on this wall. Artist impression coming up right now. So if you want to see that for real, you know what to do. Subscribe, guys. I'm not even kidding. If I do hit 100,000 subs one day, it's going on that wall. Massive treat to myself. Always wanted one, and I'm going to get one day, but not until I hit that number. Cranks back on, then we can get this the front derailleur on. I'm a greaser. I don't know about you guys, but I always grease my tapers. Endless debate. Tubeless, tubed, greased, not greased, rim brakes, disc brakes, add it to that one. I wouldn't like to say how many thousands, possibly tens of thousands of these I've fitted, and guess how many fell off or split or had an issue. That's right, it begins with Z and ends with Aero. There we go. Not strictly necessary at all, but you can add a drop of Loctite to these if you're a bit paranoid. Beautiful. Crank caps back in now. I bought this mallet specifically for fitting these. Can you believe it? Little dainty thing. Front mech's super easy. You can see a massive mark where it used to live here. Presuming it used to be in the right place, but we'll put it there and try it. Can't be far off. There's no red sticker here, but we're looking for 1 to 3 millimeter gap here. So that's definitely 3 millimeters. You could drop it down a smidge if you want to. Again, at this cage here, you're looking for it to be parallel there. You could do it like this if you want, but you normally see very easily if it is parallel with the ring, which it is. Quick pause just before we continue to say a thank you to the channel sponsor, Sport and Leisure. So when you're in the middle of a job, a bit like this, and you're waiting for parts, the last thing you want is for the job to come to a grinding halt because the part you ordered that said it was in stock wasn't actually in stock. And that's why I use Sport and Leisure. They're UK-based cycling retailer. Their stock levels are live. And if the website says it's on the shelf, it really is on the shelf, ready to ship. Order before 3 PM and it ships the same day with free delivery on all UK orders. You need it faster than that, then next day delivery is only £2.50. No brainer when you're trying to keep the job running like this. So they've also updated the discount scheme for the channel. So if you head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR, it will generate a unique web page for you and automatically apply a 10% discount on checkout for your first order. So if you're buying parts anyway, it's an easy saving, no brainer. So the link's down below, and massive thanks again to sportandleisure.com for continuing to support the channel. Unfortunately, sportandleisure.com didn't have a wheel in stock suitable for this, otherwise they really would have been my first port of call and it'd be here tomorrow. So I'm still thinking, Anyway, let's get back to this. So I want to check this hanger alignment, but I do need a straight wheel to do that with, so I'll borrow this black one that I showed you. Right, that's straight. I'm just going to check this hanger alignment because I don't think that is. Right, let's just screw the old Tupri in. Still on my Tupri, 4 years old now, this beauty, still going strong. Right, let's just check this. We know this wheel's super straight, so you can check with your valve if you want, or you can just go for it. Miles out, so we are on a steel frame, I'll say. You'll get away with a bend on this without too much difficulty. That's pretty damn good there, look at that. Check it side to side. Perfect, good. So it was out. We'll leave this wheel in just for now, it's just going to make life a bit easier for me. And put this rear mech in. Bolt this in, bit of grease on there. These old school bike repairs now, guys. None of your integrated malarkey. This is all super straightforward stuff. Right, that's on. Pedals can go on next. Get them greased as well. Grease almost everything. And chuck the other one on as well. Get your pedal spanner. There's no Allen keys holes in this one, so we need a spanner. Whiz it on. So I've hit the front wheel, but I think I'm just going to clean this axle up a bit. And both springs are missing as well. So chuck this in there, clean that up and greased it. So we can put some cables on there, front and back brake cables and the gear cables. And then we're just going to look at this wheel option again. I think realistically the only option is a brand new silver wheel, really, to be honest. In the time frame we've got, I don't think we're going to get anything else. Right, so it's a few days later and I've got a solution for these wheels so we can carry on. Right, so in those few days I've also de-rusted these bolts as well, so just drop them back in now. I just used Evaporust, it does a brilliant job for this sort of thing. Alright, that's that tidied up. Good. I'm using these bone conducting headphones today. Give it a go. Hopefully you can't hear it. The problem is it gets so boring in here all day listening to nothing because of copyright issues, etc. I thought I'd give these a go, see how we get on. Right. Also got a replacement cable guide so that can go in there. A bit of grease on that bolt as well. Not that it's ever likely to come out again for the next 30 odd years, but I've also edited all of the videos so far while I was waiting for the solution, and I realised I put the ball cage in the wrong place, so I've moved that. And these brake lever things, these are basically, you can adjust the power modulation or power level for the V-brakes. So they're nothing to do with U-brakes, canties or anything like that. They're purely for V-brakes. So you can position those there to give you a different lever feel, either more modulation or full-on power, basically. So that's the idea of that. How many people ever adjusted it? Who knows? But yeah, just to set the record straight, that's what they do. Right, wheels. I say wheels because we're changing them both, guys. So I found this decent pair, parallax hubs, half decent double skinned rims, actually pretty decent with new Shimano skewers. £70 I think they were for the pair. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to buy something that's 26 inch, it's half decent quality. They just don't exist for rim brakes, honestly. There's nothing out there. In the UK I'm talking, there's nothing. So persuaded the customer, we upped the budget a little bit, and we're changing them both. So this is going to go on really nicely now. To be fair, the front wheel does have a massive dent in it as well. It's not buckled, but it's got a big dent in it, just like the back one. So let's get these on. New Shimano cassette as well. Let's get this fitted. Get some rim tape on here, put the old tyre and tube back on. We definitely can't stretch the new tyres and tubes, sorry. Ta-da! We have wheel. Right, we are cooking on gas, as they say. Beautiful. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's do the front one, and then we'll get it cabled up. So this is the front wheel. You can see it's not much better. It's got a big dent here as well, it's swerving. You can straighten these out a little bit, but obviously being aluminium, you're a bit restricted. Not the best, was it? Anyway, we've got new wheels. Literally just a case of cabling it up now, so gear cables, brake cables, all new outers, set the brakes, set the gears, it's good to go. It's so much better being able to listen to some music doing this. I should have done this months ago. So I'm just finished filming this video the day after the workshop reveal one was released, and I think you guys really like that video, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope you're enjoying it in 4K now. I've actually fixed this camera. All right, cables. In case you're wondering, I grew up in the 90s, obviously, so it's got to be this. And we do have some form of heating today. I can only run this thing for about 20 minutes, otherwise it kills you, basically. So it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. I'll tell you what, one thing I've not checked is how many clicks are on this gear lever. Hopefully it says 8 and 7 here. Interesting. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we're good. Techno. Sorry. So this is super easy. We're just going to thread a gear cable in here and go to the down tube stop down here. And end up down here where it should be. We're not doing a full housing. Just need to get the length back right. That is going to be pretty good. I'm back on my hose hands for no particular reason. I'm still impressed with the AliExpress ones. Alright, I'm going to match the other side to that. It should be pretty much exactly the same. If you do get a bit squashed when you do that, just get your pick or whatever you use. Just open it up a little bit. New die drawn cable. Drop it down to there, thread it through the outer. Literally zero friction on these cables. I'm not lubricating. Galvanised cables I would, but not on these die drawns. They're fantastic. And that's in there. Do the front one. It does move. We need that to move. I'll clean this sticky tape off later, don't worry. And then just a section from here to here. Don't cut it to here because your derailleur doesn't sit like that. It sits like that. So make sure you get that to a reasonable length back there. Thread this through that new cable guide underneath. Like that. And then we might have some gears. We need a chain first, but that's easy. Right, we're all there. So the gear lever is in the correct position, this derailleur is in the correct position, and the high limit looks about right. We've got 2 barrel adjusters, so we've got all the adjustment in the world. Click this thumb shifter. Looking good. A bit slack down here though, so I'll pull a bit more through rather than just wasting the barrel adjusters taking that up. Right, that's a bit tighter. Good, just connect the front one up. Again, underneath the bottom bracket and just through here. Super easy these are. Again, pull this one pretty tight. We have got a barrel adjuster on the thumb shifter though, but set these pretty tight initially. I'll chuck a chain on now, see how we're going with that, and then we can do the brakes. Wow, that old chain is stretched so badly you would not believe it. It's about 2 inches longer. Crikey. Right, it measured up as being 6 links to cut off, but I don't believe that, so I'm cut 5 off. You can always take another one off. But we are on some very different gear ratios to modern day, so different change day lengths, so it might be right. We could just measure it the proper way, I guess, but hey. So this is a Sunrace chain, it's what I normally use for things like this. You don't need Shimano on these. These are actually pretty good, and they're good value. You'll see the link is a lot easier to click in than a Shimano one. So on small, what you're looking for is not to be hitting the jockey wheel there. If the chain was too long, this would be basically hitting the jockey wheel. Shouldn't be in this ratio. But let's see what we would do on big. If it'll shift, that is. Alright, let's go for the front big one first. Ugh, don't want to go up there, do you? Let's go manual. Alright, that's big. Need to adjust that front derailleur and then shift at the back. Not bad actually, you don't want it much shorter than that, to be honest. I mean, you probably get 1 link out of it. I'm quite happy with that. Right, let's set the rears first. I'm just going to press the thumb shifter all the way in without pedaling, just to stretch all these housings, bed these plastic caps in, etc. Like that. And now I go for one shift. Almost. It pretty much shifted, but you can see it wants to skip back down there, so it does need some more cable tension. It does go up, but you can see it wants to go back down again, so it needs more cable tension. So we'll unscrew this a couple of turns yet. And straight up, and there's no noise now. Straight back down. Not quite happy going up here, so we still need a bit more. Front one is a friction shifter basically, so there's no clicks. So you just finely trim it as you're riding along. So we get it onto this bigger sprocket at the back, like that. Drop it down to its inner ring, and we want it to be basically just about skimming this cage here. It's a tiny gap at the moment. That's a tiny adjustment. And then we'll see if we get it up to the next ring. Goes up to the middle one, no problem. Drop it down at the back a bit, and then up to the biggest ring. Right, it's not happy there, so we don't know if it's a limit screw or cable tension. This cable feels very, very tight under here, so more likely a limit screw issue. Because we've put a different bottom bracket in, I think there was actually a millimetre different on there, so. Right, then it overshifts. Okay, drop that down, set that there to its limit. That's sitting on the limit screw now. I've just added some cable tension to that front one. And finally, I'm just going to give it half a turn on this because it's struggling a fraction. Better. Right, so when it's rubbing like that, there is no indexing on the front derailleur. All you need to do basically is push your lever. You can hear it micro clicking, and that just trims that out. And that's it, basically. That's how you do them. So on the front brake, we need a noodle, obviously. It's going to sit there, and then we're just going to run this cable from the noodle in its closed position, obviously, if you actually connect it up, and then run that up. Again, that's going to be more than long enough there. We don't need to worry about going around corners because we're connected to it. Just connect your cable. Bobby Brown. There you go. No different to any other V-brake. Just squeeze them on. Back it off a smidge. Nip it up. Not too tight yet, and then just try your lever. Probably a bit on the tight side, that is. However, we do need to seat these housings in, so I'm just going to nip it up a fraction more, give this a really good squeeze now, and that will settle everything in. Like that. Another Allen key. And that actually feels reasonable now. I need balancing, but that's fine. Right, it feels reasonable, but it just obviously need balancing, so there's just some adjustment screws on here. One there and one on the other side. Give some more tension to this side. Or take it off this side, it don't make any difference. Not bad. And obviously working perfectly on our brand new wheels. Good. One last check, you've got that nice and tight. Night. Wigfield, no, skip. And obviously make sure you put your cable link cap on there, like that. And just tuck it in behind this post and make sure it doesn't fling into the tyre. I feel great. Let's do the back one now. So the back one goes to the stop on the top of the top tube. And then just a short section down to the lever. Again, make sure you can turn your bar all the way through 90 degrees without pulling that cable so tight you're putting the brakes on basically. So just there is fine. Perfect. So I just run the brake cable there, and then it goes through that seat collar thing there. I'm just going to add some little cable donuts, stop it pinging on here. I got told off for this once for not putting them on. They're not compulsory, guys. They didn't exist for a very long time. You just spread them around, and the idea is it just stops it pinging against the top tube there. Right, so the cable will now go through this collar. This collar is not designed for V-brakes, it's designed for cantilever brakes. A V-brake needs a dedicated stop, but it looks like someone at some point over the years has sort of milled this out a little bit to accommodate a cable, so we'll just continue to use that. It was working when it came in, so you can get like problem solvers or even a stepped ferrule or something like that. But let's see how this goes. And just the noodle. Why do they call them noodles? Anybody know? I don't know. It doesn't even look like a noodle. Nice. We're looking good. All right, that's brakes done. All right, so I've already filmed the gear section once, but I wasn't very happy with it, so I'm just revisiting. So you'll have seen me fitting the chain, etc. And then I started to do the indexing, and it wasn't quite happy. So I did a bit of research, and as suspected, that Suntour shifter kind of works, but the spacing on a Suntour and a Shimano cassette from that era was very slightly different. I think, from what I can understand, is the lower sort of 3 sprockets are the same spacing. Then as you go up the cassette, Suntour decided to change the width of some of the actual spaces between the sprockets, which is a different cable pull ratio to what Shimano. And also the shifter doesn't really work with a cable pull ratio to this Derailleur. It kind of works. I can get it to sort of index, but this top sprocket here is not very happy. I have got it indexing, and when you actually go out on a test ride, it actually performs pretty well. I'll put it at sort of 90% performance, but it's not 100%, and my belief, from what I can understand from back in the day, and speaking to a friend who does a lot of work on these, or did a lot of work on these, yeah, it's not ideal, really, but I'll show you what we've got. You can play with this all day long. You'll either get it to shift up and then struggle at this top one, or shift down and struggle down here. There's no real way of getting it to perform across the whole cassette, really. It's just not ideal. I'm not sure how he's ever managed to ride this. So it goes up these bottom few, because the Shimano spacing I think is the same, and then it starts to struggle. And then you get to the top, and then it'll drop down. And then again, because it's working up here, it doesn't work down here. So it's not ideal. So my recommendation to the customer would be one of two things, really. You can either fit a Shimano shifter, 8-speed. I don't think they made 8-speed thumb shifters, so you'd have to go to a rapid fire sort of setup, and that'd be fine. Or set this to friction. I think that's really realistic. The left-hand shifter is already friction, so all you need to do is undo that and then twist this top dial here, and that disables the indexing basically. So it's old school there. You're basically feeling your gears, and obviously that will work as long as your top and bottom limits are right. You can't go wrong with this, so let's just try that. Friction, you start down the bottom, you just push it until you feel your gear. A little bit of finesse and you very soon get used to this. And that's it. Basically, so we'll be leaving it like that, and I'll advise the customer, but basically there's some serious compatibility issues going on over the years that people have fitted bits of this bike. You can see there's not much of the original bike left, really. The brakes are not original. This is, well, I'm not sure which is the original part. I think this is probably original. Thumb shifters are not. So I think that's as good as it's getting, realistically, unfortunately. Right, so this one's all done. Brakes are actually pretty nice. It's a shame we couldn't get the gears working slightly better, but there's some such compatibility issues going on here. Realistically, I think friction is going to be the answer on this to make it a pleasant, rideable experience. Otherwise, you're just going to be skipping gears all over the place. So I'll leave it at that, speak to the customer and advise him of the options. Personally, I'll just leave it in friction. We managed for decades as friction shifters before they introduced indexing. So, like I say, you can very quickly get used to finessing the gears and feeling where they are. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. A bit more retro content for you. I do try to keep the balance as varied as possible, sort of all sorts of things, e-bikes, top of the range road bikes, all mountain bikes, anything that's got 2 wheels almost. I do draw the line at some things though. So if you did enjoy that and you've not already done so, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really, really does help the channel. Channel memberships is a great way to support the channel as well. It pays for things like renovations on the workshop, just a couple of quid, price of a coffee, and massively appreciated. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.